Now, Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell, he serves on the House Judiciary and Homeland Security Committees after spending 8 years on the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, let's start with the FBI. About 10% of the Bureau's workforce is in probationary status, meaning that they could be cut. That is, of course, on top of the recent firings that Kash Patel is accused of orchestrating. He is, we should mention, on track to be confirmed. But what is the practical impact of losing the agents there within the FBI?
If we lose thousands of agents at the FBI, we are less safe. And our job in government, whether you're president of the United States, whether you're in Congress, whether you're on your local city council, your principal job is for people to be safe in the community. We're not safe when the president of the United States releases 1,600 violent individuals into our communities who storm the Capitol on his behalf. And we're certainly not safe when the people who stand watch for terrorism, public corruption, money laundering, child trafficking, and other high crimes are fired because they were on the other side of Donald Trump in an investigation they had to do for just doing their job. So we're going to be less safe when he does this.
And then, of course, we led the show, Congressman, by talking about the prosecutors in the Southern District of New York who are saying they'd rather resign than carry out what they see as a potential quid pro quo between the New York City mayor and the Trump administration. Your reaction when you see those efforts unfolding right before us?
When you see prosecutors in New York refuse to do a drug deal for Donald Trump, that's what honor looks like. Every prosecutor in America should read the memo that the lead prosecutor, I believe her name is Danielle Sassoon, put forward. It's so inspiring. It's what, when I was a prosecutor, it's what we were supposed to do. We're supposed to look at the facts and the law and not to give a rip about anyone's political standing. Watching this morning, Trump's lead immigration czar and Eric Adams on television talking about this agreement, it was so disgusting. It's what you would see on Russian television, just open, naked corruption. And so what we have to do in Congress, is the branch that funds government and that funds the Department of Justice, is to put in place, guardrails and protections against this. And that funding's coming up, by the way, in just a couple weeks.
I'm glad that you ask about that funding because there has been a lot of conversations about Democrats being able to leverage their standing here. Usually Republicans need Democrats to help them continue to keep the government open, help continue funding. What's the leverage point that you're comfortable with Democrats using? Would you be comfortable shutting down the government? And to what end? What do you need to extract from these negotiations?
Donald Trump right now is shutting down the government. He's shutting down federal aid that's supposed to go to organizations. He's shutting down the FBI by firing agents. He's shutting down the CIA with forced resignations. He's shutting down aid that is supposed to go out and help people. Democrats want to keep government open. So our leverage is that we're not going to provide, I'm not speaking for others, but speaking for myself, I'm not going to provide a vote that enables a further shutdown. And as I take a step back and I watch Donald Trump take this wrecking ball to America and to our allies, I keep asking myself, will we ever get all of this back? Will we rebuild in California when Donald Trump says he's not going to help those victims of fire disaster? Will we be safe in our communities with fewer FBI agents and more January 6th terrorists on the street? Will our organizations be able to help people with less federal funding? And will our allies stand shoulder to shoulder with us as Donald Trump continues to poke them in the eye and treat them like an enemy? Those are the questions that I and my constituents are asking ourselves.
What we've also heard from the Trump administration is that the cuts are to try to decrease government spending. Of course, the way that they're going about it, and this is being argued in court, is harming both workers and then also the very structures and rules that are supposed to govern the way that government works. But the government did run nearly a $2 trillion deficit last year and had $36 trillion in debt. We're going to hear those numbers a lot as Republicans try to go through their reconciliation process. But are there any cuts inside the federal workforce that you would approve of?
Yes, I certainly would cut many of the benefits going to Elon Musk and the contracts that he's benefited from. And when I look at the stage at the inauguration, many of the debt that you just referenced went to the billionaires sitting in the front row at Donald Trump's inauguration in the form of Donald Trump's tax cuts from his first administration. I would let those expire, as they should, at the end of this year. I also believe, that we can make sure that we are an economy where if you work hard, you do better and dream bigger, and it's not just the billionaire bros on that stage that benefits. That's what Democrats are fighting for, and that's the budget that you're going to see us put forward.